something interesting is sure to happen. Well, I think you ought to tell me who you are first. Mr. Rabbit? Then why did you ask the question?
Goodness, this is quite extraordinary.
Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?
But today is turning into the most curious adventure I have ever had.
Welcome to the Alice in Wonderland podcast. So this is a place for you to open your mind and allow your sense of wonder, imagination, and most importantly, your curiosity loose. I'm Georgia Ellis, and I'm going to take you on a journey down a rabbit hole today with a special guest. My guest today is Marlowe Richards. So Marlowe is the creative mind behind Carla Jewellery, and I hope I've pronounced that right, where she provides personalised wellness jewellery. And she's also a strong believer that we can turn any negative situation into a blessing. So let's get curious with Marlowe. How are you going?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. It's great to have you here. So I've got a question that I love to ask all my guests, and it sort of goes along the lines of the title of the podcast, which is Alice in Wonderland. So I want you to imagine that I'm a 7-year-old girl and I'm just skipping my way through Wonderland in this wonderful, beautiful world of imagination and bliss, and of course there's challenges as well. And I bump into you. And I say, what are you doing here? What do you do in Wonderland? How would you answer that question?
I'd say what I do in Wonderland is help people feel better. That's my job in life. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so let's go down that rabbit hole. What do you do?
Okay.
What is it that you do specifically that helps people feel better?
Well, I'm a designer. I've trained in design. I got my design degree in Vancouver many years ago, and I really wanted to make design, to use design to help people. And I worked in the building industry for many years, and I wasn't actually achieving that goal. It wasn't happening. And I'm a really good listener. I'm most comfortable listening. So this is really having me do some of the talking is going to be a challenge. But I found that my strength in design was actually listening to the brief, or listening to what people needed, and really understanding where they were coming from, and then finding solutions to help them achieve their goals. And so a few bits and pieces happened, and I decided to leave the building industry and use my design skills for more direct help with the jewelry, the wellness jewelry.
Wellness jewelry, yeah. I'm fascinated. I've had a look at your website and it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, did I pronounce it right? It is Kaya Jewellery?
Kaya. Yes,
Kaya,
Kaya.
beautiful.
Yes,
so those that are listening, if you want to check it out, go and just do a Google search on Kaya Jewellery. Absolutely superb and beautiful jewellery on there. So talk to me a little bit about the move from Canada to Australia, because you're Australian.
Canadian.
Now, or you're living in Australia, I should say. I don't know if you're an Australian.
Yes, well, I'm Kanazi. My husband and I have decided I'm Kanazi. But yes, I've been here for, nearly 20 years now. And I, in fact, was an exchange student when I was fresh out of high school. When I was 18, I came to Australia, and I actually lived with a family who, they were not for me, and I was not for them. We got along very badly, and so instead of just handling it like a mature person would, I just went completely off the rails. And the exchange organization said, right, we're packing you up, we're sending you back to Canada. And instead of sending me back, they actually sent me Sydney, and they sorted me out with a host family, and so that host family had 4 kids, and some 10 years after the exchange, I was invited to come back for a wedding. My host sister was getting married, and when I came back for the wedding, my host mum Jen decided it would be a good idea to set me up on a blind date. And I married that blind date.
Well, there you go.
So we've been married for oh gosh, I guess 18 years now. Yeah.
What a wonderful story. So I'm glad that we've been able to adopt you here in Australia. So let's go a little bit further into the jewellery, and what is it that you're hoping to achieve through the jewellery, and how you do that. Because on your website it says, we create personalised jewellery, and that's something that doesn't happen a lot. So talk a little bit more around what it is that you do and how you're personalising that for wellness.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had experience in my life with supporting a sick husband, and I've realized that if you believe in the healing properties of gemstones, or if you don't believe, it neither matters, because what happens is the act of giving something to someone who is unwell is actually a gift of connection. So that's one element, is that human connection has a real healing, not spirit so much, but the person giving feels like they're helping, and the person receiving, it's almost like a security blanket. It gives them something to hold on to. But the gemstones themselves actually do have healing properties, and I've noticed myself, for example, I'm wearing citrine, and it's for abundance, and I've noticed since wearing it, I have actually been experiencing more abundance in my life. So I work with a lot of different gemstones that people can access depending on the challenge that they have in their life. And for those of us who don't believe, because I know there are those out there, I've done a lot of research on the placebo effect, and actually it's an astronomical 50 to 75% effective. So even if the giver doesn't believe, but the receiver believes, then there's actual healing and happiness and connection and betterment, positive energy, shall we say, that occurs with that transfer.
I'm really glad that you mentioned the placebo effect there, because I think it's a power that we can utilize. It's the power of belief, isn't it? So just like you, many years ago, I was at a workshop and someone handed out, is it citrine? Is it how you pronounce it? The gemstone you're wearing now. And I've had it in my purse ever since. Now I'd have to count back. That would probably be 17 years ago. And it's always been in my purse or my wallet or wherever all my coins were. It was always with me. And my wallet's always had money in it. So, I don't know whether it's a belief, whether it's the stone, but who cares? It's working. I've got money. Is it the stone? Do I take the stone out and have no money? I don't know. I'm not willing to test that theory.
That's right. It's kind of like most people use it as, it doesn't hurt to wear it. It's like, I'm going to stock the odds in my favor. I'm going to give it a shot. It can't hurt. It's, it'll give me a boost on some level. So they're willing to give it a shot. Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt to try either, does it?
That's right. And actually, to answer the personalized question that you asked, so because I listen and I understand what people's needs are, I design a lot based on sort of their challenges. So it can be as simple as, well, I'm about to do a speech. I need something for expression. So I'll make something specifically with the blues in it to help with expression, or for negative energy, to repel negative energy. So I have a range that does sort of single use challenges, but then I also do mixes for people. I've had people ask me, I've got a friend going through chemo. Can you please make me something for that? Or for grief, I need something to help me through grief. And it, it really just, it helps people get past those challenges in life.
Yeah. And what a beautiful gift to be giving. And I think too, you know, it's sort of, this is a little bit of a segue, but not really a segue. So for instance, if I go out to a restaurant, I'll go to a restaurant where I know there's a chef that loves what they do because the meal tastes so much better. So
yeah, they put the love in.
So if I'm going to order jewelry for myself or for a friend, I'd go to a place where I know the person that's making it has a real connection to every single individual piece, because I'm going to use the word energy here. There's a real energy of love and connection with the piece that carries on through the giving process. So it's got your energy, it's got the energy, as you're saying there, with the gemstones, the energy of the giver. So it's not just this, it's this whole combination. Instead of me just going into somewhere like, I don't know, somewhere where they do mass produced or cheap jewelry out of Asia, there's a difference between that. It's like getting takeaway made by a 15-year-old in McDonald's compared to going to a restaurant where the chef is just taking so much care in it, and they're putting the beautiful garnishes on it, and the sauce is just beautiful. And I think there's a real difference in that. And I think in the society that we're living now, we've sort of lost that connection with the maker, the chef, the artist, the jewelry maker. And that's where the soul is, in either the food or the jewelry.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think too, because there's such a move away from reducing landfill, which is a big part of what I do, I wanted to make things that people would cherish and not end up in landfill because it's a mass-produced piece. And even to that end, you know, I'm always happy to restring when they're broken, or I take them back and I cleanse the gemstones, and then I can reuse them, because I mean, why would you throw them out? You know, it's unnecessary landfill.
So your jewelry is good for the environment. It's good for the giver, the creator, the receiver. And we're having one great big party here with your jewelry, aren't we?
I know. You know, I'm actually looking into becoming a B Corp. So I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like you get a stamp saying you're all these cool things for the environment and for people. And so that's sort of in the future to build towards.
Yeah, that is awesome, and incredible work as well. So I'm a business owner. I'm obviously not making something like you are, crafting something every day. I know that there are key challenges and just running a business day to day. And so can you share with us, what are some of the challenges that you move through on a daily, weekly basis? And what's your go-to? How do you help yourself through those challenges? Because, you know, life's full of them.
Yeah, that's the good old self-care question, hey? Well, it's a bit tricky because I think I'll probably have to include the relationship with my husband in that answer, because so we have two kids and a dog, and well, I'll tell you the stroke story now, because it's informed how we've gone through our entire relationship and how I run my business. And so when my son was 6 months old, my husband had a stroke caused by a chiropractic manipulation. And instead of being put down by it or struggling with it, we actually used it as a celebration to say, we've gotten through it, and every day is special. Every day we need to be grateful for every day. So when I'm in my business and I'm struggling and I'm trying to, feeling overwhelmed is my main thing, I always turn back to him and my family, and just realize that actually, no matter how long the list is, taking time off is okay. And no matter how much work there has to be done, you can actually seriously drop it for an hour, for a day, for, however long you kind of need. And I used to run myself really, really ragged doing it all by myself. But recently I just took off a whole bunch of time because my folks were out from Canada. And I thought, I'm not going to work through this. I'm going to enjoy every minute. And I feel like I achieved the same amount in that time, giving myself the break that because I would have wasted a lot of time, I think, spinning my wheels. So I was much more laser focused, and I did what I had to do quickly because I had the rest and the time off. And so there's a lot of resting in my family because my husband needs to rest a lot. So we've actually tried to incorporate that in our routines so that we don't overstretch ourselves, because overstretching is going to make you sick, right? That's the theme with all the women I talk to. They've overstretched, they've run themselves down, and now they're sick. And that's why they're looking to alternate sources of wellness, and they come to me.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because we're living in a world now where if you are running a business, all you have to do is just get on any social media feed, and it's all about the hustle. It's all about the 5 steps to this, the 3 steps to this. If you want more money, if you want to be doing this, and it's all this just bombardment of you've got to be doing more.
Yeah.
And just like you, I think it's really important that people step back and have a look at what's really going on here, and have a look at the life that they want, and create and design a life around what's important to them. And that sounds like what you're doing. So you've incorporated rest into your day.
Yeah. And to be honest, my housework doesn't get done all the time. Sometimes my studio is immaculate, and sometimes it's a bomb site. And I just have to go, you know what? I don't care. I mean, I care, and I would be completely embarrassed if someone actually walked in. But at the core, I don't care, because I'd rather be well, and I'd rather make sure my family is having a good time and enjoying each other. And we've got a beautiful place that we live, so why not take advantage of it? Life's too short to spend time to waste time, I guess, to lose time in your business all the time, because you get burnt out and you're not effective.
And I think it also goes for people who are employees working for an organization of any size, because they tend to do the same thing. And especially, I see it a lot in women. Men do it as well. But this constant, I've just got to be everything for everyone, and forgetting to take that time out for themselves, which is the catalyst for your own health and well-being. And I think I've used this analogy that I'm about to share a number of times in other podcasts, but it's just golden. You get on an airplane and they go through the safety mechanism procedure, and they tell the adults to put the oxygen mask on themselves before they serve other people.
Yeah.
And I think especially women, and to a degree men as well, but especially women, we forget to do that. We forget to, okay, if I want to serve my clients in my business better, or if I want to serve my team members in an organization better, or my family, my husband, whoever it is, I actually have to turn up and look after myself first. I have to put the oxygen mask on myself first. And a lot of people forget that. Really, it's really simple. And then when they go to do it, they're trying to relax, but they're feeling guilty, and the to-do list is running through their head, because it hasn't yet become ingrained in them to take that time out. And I've been running my business now for 6 months, and I have a morning routine which is all about me putting my oxygen mask on for the day. And there are even times when I'm thinking, I should be in my office doing that, and then I go, no, the world's not going to end, because I'm not in my office right now. I'm going to go and sit and enjoy the sun, hug a tree, walk the dog, whatever it might be, so that I can turn up and be the best version of myself.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, that's right.
So earlier you shared that you were working in the building industry. Was that in Australia?
Yeah. So that was in Sydney. Yep.
So you're working in the building industry as a designer?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So the catalyst for leaving, was that your husband's stroke, or was it something already in the pipeline?
Well, I said to him, look, it's time to crank out a family here. And I'm not working. I'm retiring. That's it. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm not having kids for someone else to raise them. And he was cool with that. He was happy for me to just end it there. And it was good for me too, because the building industry, it can be quite stressful in terms of time demands and shifting requirements and budget and all that stuff that doesn't feed a woman's, like me anyway, soul. I need more human connection than that. Yeah.
So you're preparing to leave to start a family.
Yes.
So at that time when you left, it wasn't to follow a dream to start the business. It was following a dream to have a family. Yeah.
So the plan was to have a family, and I wanted to have a home birth. So I had the pool in the lounge room, and we had it all set to go. And my husband is a big guy, right? He's a big one. And I don't know why I thought I could have a home birth. I mean, the baby I was carrying was gargantuan. He ended up being 5 kilos. So he was very, very late. And just as I thought it was imminent, my husband threw it his back. So I said, you've got to go and get it fixed. I mean, time's a ticking. I need your support here, And so he went to see a chiropractor, and they fixed him, and in the end, we didn't have the home birth. I had to go to the hospital and pry that baby out. So that was the plan, was just to be a mum.
Yeah. Okay. And so Kaya, how did that all come about? What was the catalyst to start the business?
Yeah. So with the stroke, my husband, it looked like in the early days that he wouldn't be able to work. So my boss said, come on back. And I tried, I tried to be a mum and to take care of my husband and to work. And I know that there's lots of women who can do that successfully. I've talked to many of them, and I wasn't one of them. I knew that I was the glue that was going to hold that whole family together, and that if I overextended myself, all 3 of us would be in some serious strife, So my husband said to me, don't worry, I'm just going to go back to work, and you just stay with the plan. We'll stick with the plan. And so luckily his employers were fantastic. He literally went in and, stared out the window for many weeks, trying to even remember how to turn on the computer and do those sorts of things. But he was still at least, bringing in an income. So we managed to carry on like that. We sort of took a vow of poverty. We decided we'll live on one income and do nothing fun for years and years. And but then finally, when we had a second baby and it was time for them, I wanted them to go to Montessori, and they start at 3 there. And my husband said, well, if you really want to get them to go to school, that's an extra expense. Montessori is an extra expense, so you got to bring in some money. So the pressure was on, and I thought, oh my God, I can't go back to the building industry. I have to do something that is on my own terms. I can make my own hours, and it has to be design related, and it has to be something I can do in the wee hours if I have to. And I'd made my own wedding jewelry. And, you know, I had friends going, oh, you should sell that. You should sell that. And I thought, oh, are you crazy? But, you know, I just did one market stall. That's all I did. Just thinking, this is funny. Let's just try it out. You know, I never really had a plan to have the jewelry as the outcome. I knew how I wanted to create some kind of world where I was connected and helping people. I just didn't know what that was going to look like. And for years, I actually didn't think I could even do it within jewelry. But it took a lot of soul searching, and I finally worked out, absolutely, more so than anything else I know how to do. I can have Kea become this place where people feel heard and valued, and, you know, kind of, I don't know, help them feel better.
Yeah. So when you first started the first round of jewelry, was that you specifically looking to heal people? Was that you just getting your designs out there?
It's funny. I first started doing healing wellness style jewelry, and then I chickened out. And I started copying all these other people. I started doing all this crazy jewelry that I wouldn't even necessarily wear. I mean, I sold it, but it wasn't my style. It wasn't my ethos. And then finally, I kind of had a moment where Ben said to me, that's it, you need to go get a job. You're not making any money. So I applied. And in fact, I found a job that was identical to what I was doing before. And I thought, right, this is it. I'll get the job. And I didn't get it. And then I thought, okay, this is my job. This is my job. This is it. I have no other choice. I have to make this work big time. And I need to be true to myself, and I need to make stuff that works for me. You know, I can't rip off other people's designs. Am I crazy? Because I'm all about being authentic, right? Like, that's my whole thing. Like, how can I do that? So anyway, I started talking to people, listening to what they wanted, incorporating what they really truly wanted into my designs, and then I started coming up with a range that was very much me, you know, and them.
Yeah. And so what happened? What was the result of your business over time when you stepped into your authenticity, didn't worry about, you know, what the latest trends were, and didn't try and copy designs? What was the business like? What were the results like for the business when you did that?
Well, it took a bit. So I did feel like the hardest part was saying no to a lot of the stuff that I was already doing, and to identify what those no's were was tricky. But once I started closing those doors, these really amazing other doors opened, and bigger risks, you know, where, like, I started doing mind, body, spirit festivals instead of makers markets. You know, it's a small difference, but soon I was getting the right customers for my product. And within a blink of an eye, it feels like, really, I've gone from struggling to fulfilling all those bits and pieces I wrote down on the paper that I wanted to achieve. You know, I've got a bit of a following on Facebook. I've got a community. I'm building a tribe. People love what I do. You know, I'm achieving financial success. I'm actually contributing to the mortgage. You know, it's yeah, and it's only just growing and growing. I've just completed the first portion of a business incubator, and it looks like I'm soon getting a business partner coming on board, and soon we'll be going to some angel investors to see if we can go international. That's the plan. So big things ahead, you know.
Yeah. And did you ever think that would be the result of you when you know, did your first market, when you sat there with your jewelry and you're going, I'm just going to give this a go. I want my kids to go to Montessori.
Yeah, no. It's because the funny thing is I have never even in a million years thought of putting the entrepreneur hat on or the business person hat on. I am to the core a designer. That's what I resonate with. And to shift my thinking to become an entrepreneur, it's been a real challenge, And luckily, I've managed to find a lot of people around me to support me. You know?
I've got a question for you just on that, because I think there's a lot of people out there who, I'm going to use the word struggle with exactly what you're talking about there. So they identify with a different thing. Like, I'm a designer, I'm an employee, I'm a creative, I'm a fitness person. They're all these things that they identify with. I'm a personal trainer, but I'm not a business person. So you said you had to change your mindset. What were some of the things that you did internally to be able to shift from being just calling yourself, identifying as a designer, to identifying as a designer who has a successful business? So what work did you do on the inside?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm going to be writing a book on that one day, I think.
Don't worry, you and I can collaborate.
Yeah, that's right. I think a lot of what I've done is I found some really good books that I've listened to while I'm working over and over and over and over again. And it's just using different language and kind of starting to immerse myself in that world. And I've also found that it's crazy, but I believe it so strongly that whatever you write down, it comes true. So, I mean, if I could take you into my shower right now, which would be a great place to have an interview, by the way.
We won't do that.
So I've written down all my goals, and not the how do I want to say, the man goals, like I've written down a bit of business goals, but a bit of personal goals, and just sort of all the things that I want my life to become. And I've put it in a plastic A4 sleeve, and I've stuck it to the shower screen. And it's an interesting process, because I'm in the shower, I'm relaxed, and I glance over at it, and I think somehow my subconscious just grabs onto it and works on creating it without much effort in my actual, push all the time. So, I was in the shower the other day going, oh, I can strike that one off and that one off and that one off. Those are all done, put some more on there. So I think it's been real subtle changes. But the power of writing and visualizing those goals, massive. Yeah.
We could sit here and I could give you all the science behind what you're doing, but we won't.
I'm
just going to say to our listeners that what you're talking about there, Marlowe, actually is proven in scientific studies and research to work, and how it does work with the subconscious mind. So it's really great that you're using those tools. And I can remember many years ago, I was giving a talk at a corporate event, and when I'd finished, somebody else got up and was speaking afterwards, and I'd spoken about, goal setting and make sure you have something that you're moving towards, like in the shower, the plastic sleeve with all your things. There's your goals. There's the things. This is going to be in my future. This is going to cause me to grow. This is going to cause me to do something I've never done before. This is how I want my life to look. And anyway, so somebody else got up after me, and someone in the audience said, well, what do you think about setting goals? They asked this other person, and he said, oh, I've never set a goal in my life. He goes, but you know what? I heard that the top real estate agent in Australia, he's got all these goals plastered all over the outside of his shower, and every morning he's looking at it. He goes, but I don't believe in setting goals. And I'm sitting there going, you've just spoken about the top real estate agent in the country achieving his goals because he sticks a vision of them on his shower every morning, but you don't believe in goals. So it was really quite interesting to hear that you've done it. I've done exactly the same thing. Put it on the outside of the shower, because you're right, we're very relaxed. Our subconscious mind is open. The water's putting us into this beautiful theta brainwave. We become very suggestible and hypnotic. And the inner critic, the imposter that we have day to day, is not there in the shower for whatever reason. It disappears. We're turning off the frontal lobe of our brain where all this, you can't be that, you can't be that. And you're allowed to dream in the shower almost. And
that's right.
yeah, so you're actually starting to plant this into the subconscious mind. So for our listeners, I think there's a really good tip there to do what Marlowe's done in relation to think about, well, what is it do I want? Where do I want to head? And you'll be quite surprised, like not surprised, but pleasantly surprised. When you get in the shower one day and you look at it and you go, oh, I can take that off. I've done it.
Yeah.
And how does it feel when you look at the things that you've put there and you go, oh, I've done that? What's the feeling within you when that happens?
Yeah, that's the good old, you've achieved it. That's all that you get, all that positive self, I don't know, whatever. What's the opposite of self-criticism?
Reinforcement.
Pat on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Self-belief reinforces.
Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking I might have to do it for my husband though, like I could go for new diamond earrings or, so put something suggestive on there for him.
Now here's the question. Do you do that? Do you put things on there that hopefully he might see when he's in the shower, or do you have separate showers that
I haven't actually, but there's always a possibility.
Because wouldn't it be funny if subliminally he starts turning up and achieving your goals as well?
See, now you're onto something.
We could do a social experiment. No, that's called manipulation, so we won't do that.
Yeah.
So your journey's been one of real ups and downs. There's been struggle, but through it all, it sounds like you've got a lot of determination. You've always had something behind you to help push you forward. So what would you, as we start to round out the conversation, for our listeners, if there are people out there that have a goal that requires them to, change the mindset of who they are and become somebody else, or there's people out there who potentially are struggling with, they've got so many commitments at home that they can't bring their best version to themselves, to their job, their career, their dreams. Is there any sort of parting words of wisdom, advice, or anything like that you can give people to help them navigate, those dreams, those goals, or navigate out of the challenges? That was a long question with lots of different questions. So
yeah. I mean, it's I don't know if it stems from it being a glass is half empty kind of person or a glass is half full kind of person. But I know, when my husband was in the hospital, we thought he was having a brain tumor. And we were very concerned that, he would have months and months of surgery and chemo and whatever else ahead of him. And so when the neurologist came and said, it's a stroke, we were literally celebrating, we were ecstatic. We were like, yes, a stroke, hallelujah, this is awesome. Now, I don't think there's too many people in the stroke ward who would be, celebrating like we were, but I'm telling you, it was the best news ever. Because it meant that all he had to do was get down to repairing and recovering. But I think also both of us are optimists too, but I think you can become an optimist, or you can become a person who sees challenges like that if you practice. Because there's been times when I've kind of gone down the, oh, woe is me, this is too hard. And he pulls me up on it all the time, and kind of reinforces that thinking of, everything happens for a reason. That's our mantra in our family. Everything happens for a reason. If it's good, if it's bad, it doesn't matter. It's fleeting in the grand scheme of things. I mean, that stroke took us years to get over, but in my lifetime, it was fleeting. And so it's not worth getting stuck on that negative experience, because it's going to pass. So, and then in the end, you're going to see all the benefits. And I have to tell you, one of the benefits of that stroke is that he's a landscape architect, and his symptoms came up a lot like autism. So he can't handle a lot of stimulation. And he was asked to design a playground for kids with all abilities. And that playground has won international and national awards and was the very first of its kind in Australia for sure. And so he's happy he had the stroke because he's helped hundreds of kids and their families. And so, and I'm happy he had the stroke too, because I probably wouldn't have been pushed to make my own business. I could have happily gone back to work and put my kids in daycare and not had to be on tap 24/7 like I've had to have been, so, and I couldn't imagine not having Kea Jewellery, because every minute of every day it makes me happy because I know other people are happy, so yeah, it's good.
I love that. It's seeing the good in every situation, which is bringing us full circle back to where we started, when your mantra for life is to find the good, to see the good in it, and to go through what you've been through, the challenges. I bet if you were to sit here and look back, you probably need a very big, large telescope to see how much you've grown and how far you've come. And I applaud you for doing that, because I know from personal experience it's not easy. And I can understand why people would just go and get a job because they think it's secure, but a lot of the time there's not a lot of growth in that, and we leave our passions unpacked in a box under the bed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's right. And
when
when
I should say.
Yeah, and we definitely decided after the stroke that we weren't going to do things that didn't feed our soul. We weren't going to live our lives without doing the things we wanted to do. No regrets, no what ifs. Let's just go for it. And it's amazing. The more I've gone for it, the more the universe has been there to prop me up. There actually is that jump, and there will be a security net. There actually is.
Yeah, life rewards action. I've noticed that when I sit around and don't do anything, it's boring and I don't get much. But when I start pushing the boundaries like what you have as well, life rewards that in so many unique ways, and you can't predict how it's going to reward you, but it does. That's a real blessing. So if people would like to get a piece of personalized jewelry from you, whether it be for something for wellness or just because your jewelry is beautiful and amazing, even though it's going to come with a lot of love and wellness and healing with it, I'm sure, how's the best way to reach out and to find you?
So my website is Kea Jewellery, spelt with the double L, right? Not the American way, spelled the Australian way. keajewellery.com.au.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
and you're on social media as well. If people want to connect with you and join your community, they can do that.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm not a fan of email. I hate it. But I love when people send me a friend request and talk to me directly on Messenger. I spend hours just chatting with people, getting to know what they need and helping them out. I'm always happy to spend some time.
Yeah. So the personalization of the jewelry, that if someone was to want them, so that's a conversation you have with people one-on-one to really uncover what it is that they're after, and then you create something for them.
Yeah, it can be. It depends. I usually get them to have a look, see if there's something out there that they resonate with. They can just grab it. If not, I actually do personal consultations. So I send out a little bit of a questionnaire. We spend an hour chatting as I read through, and then make some recommendations on what sort of gemstones could help them. And then we put a design together, a style together, and then I send it off to them.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go, listeners. So for all the men listening, absolutely, you can, there's if your wife's a mum, Mother's Day is coming up. But just for any particular reason, men, I think there's a beautiful way you can
It's
show
a great gift.
love. Yeah, a bit of love to the females in your life. And for you women out there that need to nurture yourself, I think this is a beautiful way of doing it as well. So thank you so much, Marlowe. It's been an absolute delight. And thank you for sharing your stories, your struggles, your triumphs, and leaving that wonderful piece of advice at the end to see the good in any situation, because if you really look, you can find it. It's always there, right?
That's it. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Today is turning into the most curious adventure I've ever had.